The World Cup is fast approaching, and with it, a bunch of kits are being leaked and released. Some of them have been well received, others not so much. But today, I'm going to be designing 8 unique jerseys, home and away, for 4 different national teams. So let's get right into it. Starting off with the second best Portuguese speaking national team, it has to be Brazil. And I mean, this has to be the World Cup that they do it. And that's why I'm choosing that yellow shade from the famous World Cup win for this template. Remember, from R9, Roberto Carlos, and Ronaldinho, that was the tournament that they last lifted this trophy. I mean, I think they could do it now with the likes of Richarlison, Vanderson, and Gabriel Martinelli. I think this is finally the tournament that Brazil can get their 6th trophy. And, in celebration of that, in celebration of, their already destined win, I've gone with this very classic Brazilian design. Those Brazilian trees on the base, I think, are absolutely stunning. And, with these Brazilian kits nowadays, they're always just yellow and green, which is the iconic colors, but I want to add those accents of blue, which I just think are so stunning and underutilized. So I've gone with this Brazilian pattern that I found online, with these triangles, just fitting it around that color, looking very nice and neat. And come on, I really do want Brazil to finally win a World Cup, if it is in Portugal, because they need this. Neymar needs this for his legacy. This guy has less Ballon d'Ors than Rodri. He cannot end his career like that. And at the same time, I'm going to be adding those triangles on the sleeves, of course, but I'm going to be making them into diamonds instead. I think it gives a bit more depth to the design, and it's something very unique. I don't think I've ever seen this on a kit before. And yeah, as we finish up this home design, hopefully Brazil can do it and win the World Cup. And now onto the away kit, and once again, I'm going to be using the previous World Cups kit, which was the 2022, and I just want to say with this specific jersey, I mean, I really appreciate the idea, but the execution was diabolical. I mean, the leopard patterns were so cool, but that gradient, whoever thought of that, bro, come on, you just ruined something that could have been great. But with this specific jersey, once again, I love when kits are reminiscent of the actual flag of the country. So I brought in the stars which appear in the center of the Brazilian flag. And I just think this is brilliant. This is something so simple and clean, and I've never actually seen it done with a Brazilian kit. And I'm going to be making that blue match the one on the flag. Once again, it's just so representative of the identity and, the overall vibe of the country. And I just love it. And this specific kind of design is so classy. Again, such a contrast to the home kit. And then as I add that color to finish up this design, tell me this does not scream Esteval. I can just see him balling out in the tournament in this kit. And that is the final design. And now we are moving on to the 2022 World Cup host, the first ever Winter World Cup host, Qatar. And with Qatar, to be honest, they always have such, I don't know, plain designs. I really don't like it. Never going out there. So instead, I'm going to be going the complete other direction. And if you've ever been to any Arab country, you wouldn't have seen these very unique chairs. They're kind of these symmetric kind of designs on these red chairs usually. And I'm going to be applying that to this kit. So I found this really nice template, and I'm going to start to, try to fit that into this design. Obviously, I have to add those Adidas stripes since Qatar has signed with Adidas now, moving from Nike in the last tournament. And also something else, Qatar has recently been doing this bright red color, and I'm really not a fan of it. So it is the Nabi, not the reds, and Nabi meaning maroon. So I'm going to be bringing it down to this more darker color. It also gives the jersey so much more depth. And as you can see, that's the actual kit that they have released. And I do like it a lot, to be fair, but again, it's just too simple for my liking. So we're going to be bringing in that design, really making it fit into the kit. And it even looks like the actual material of those pillows. And I think it's starting to look really, really cool, bringing the jersey together. And that is the final design. Now for the away kit, and it has to be white because Qatar, to be honest, I don't think there's any other color besides white that has any importance to the country. I mean, the flag is literally only maroon and white, and they've never really done anything else as far as I'm aware besides maroon and white. I did have those triangles on the sides, just like the home kit. It's something I really like that design. It's very subtle, and at the same time, I don't think they've ever done that with the away kit. I'm also adding these stars as the main template of this kit because it has a lot of significance to Arab culture and Arab design, which it shows up all over the Arab world. So it's gonna look very cool. And there's more significance of why I'm specifically choosing stars for this kit, which is, if you know anything about Asian football, Qatar have actually won the last two Asian Cups, which I'm going to be representing that very, very soon. And to commemorate that, I'm going with this star design, the Qatar Stars shirt, which actually the league is called the Qatar Stars League. So I think that's quite a cool design. And this is the final jersey. So, starting off with the 2010 World Cup host, South Africa, the first ever African host from what I remember. And Bafana, they usually go with this really nice shade of yellow for their kits. So, I'm going to be sticking with that shade of yellow for this template. And we're going to try to do a more traditional, African design, which honestly, they have not exploited that much. I don't know why. It's such a brilliant, like, kind of thing that they have going. So, I found this really cool triangle pattern and I'm just applying it to both the sleeves and obviously the collar, just putting that around, fitting it nice. I also colored it the colors of the South African flag, blue, red, white, green, and everything. Yellow's already the main kit, so we don't need that. And then we're just gonna place in the logo and the Adidas. And they actually have three logos, the South African Football Federation. So it made me think of the Y on the flag. It could be a nice way to put them all in between. And maybe just color that in to blend in with the rest of this design. And that will be our home kit for South Africa. Now for the away kit, contrasting that home kit, which was very vibrant, very loud, which I think is perfect because it really does match South Africa. That 2010 World Cup with all of those, I forget what the instrument was called that was booming in the stadium. It really matches the vibe of the country, the national team. But instead, with this away kit, we're going to contrast that with a much sleeker, cleaner design. This is a nice dark emerald green with these gold accents that really pop out. I don't know, it gives a really classy look, very clean look, and I really appreciate that in jerseys. You have an alternative to that really loud and exciting, home kit that we just designed. So overall, this is going to be the final design for South Africa's away kit. And now for our final designs for the 2026 World Cup video today, it is going to be a 2026 World Cup host, Canada. And honestly, after how long it took me designing this specific national team's jerseys, I hope they lose every single game. I mean, I usually think kit manufacturers, like I blame them for not making good designs because I'm like, there's so much usually to work with. Like, come on, you could have done something better. But with this specific national team, there is nothing. The only thing I could even think of, with even trying to do some research was flannel, which was the first thing I thought of. But flannel already looks horrible, so you can't make it look good on a jersey. Certainly not. So I did come up with some kind of a concept, which is to put these moose antlers coming up, representing a very important animal to Canada. I made it maroon, which is something they haven't really done. The kit with the kit, it's usually a bright red, which matches the logo, but a maroon color lets those maple leaves in the background stand out and the logo in the front. And then finally, just to wrap everything together, I added these white lines. They're like kind of like accents and they don't represent anything, but this is the final design. It's actually quite clean. And straight into the Awakened design because honestly, this team doesn't deserve any more of my time. And once again, I'm just going to be doing a simple color swap, just like we did with South Africa. But this time, I'm going to go with this white and gray, but then a red accents in the front. So white and gray in the back, but red in the front. And as I did this, it really reminded me of a hockey jersey, which honestly is perfect for Canada. At this point, I think they should just stick to hockey anyways. And this is the final Awakened design. So tell me what you think. And tell me what you think for all of today's designs. Which one was your favorite? Which one was your least favorite? Which national team do you want to see in the next video? And that will be all for today. So thank you for watching and goodbye.